Hello, Ian here from Dark Blades Workshop. Welcome back to another video. In this one we're looking at working with the new material from Night Models. So for this demo we're going to be using Professor Quirrell straight out of the box. So you can still see he's attached to his sprue, and also there's plenty of flash to remove. Flash is the excess plastic or resin that slides out the side of the mold. We need to get rid of that. So tools we'll be using, obviously clippers to remove it from the sprue, or you can use a hobby knife. I like these because I can swap the blades over and they're really sharp. You can use needle files, but I find them a bit cumbersome for this material, so I prefer to use these flexi pads or flexi files. Basically they're just sandpaper stuck to a stick, but they are flexible and they can work around bends and corners and stuff like that magic. Various different grits as well. Medium fine, extra fine. You can get coarse as well. But I got to get these from eBay. I think they're a couple of quid each, I think, or a couple of quid for a set. I can't remember. The other thing I'll be using is a needle, but in this case it's a spear from Gripping Beast, from brass with a metal tip on it. Only because I can't find a needle. Honourable mentions go to hard coat, bit of cork, and tea light. All should become clear. So what you can start with is start clipping the parts away from the sprue. Get as close and use the flat edge if you got clippers with a flat edge against the model. Making sure you don't actually cut into part of the model. That is. And these are really old and they're quite blunt. Okay, so that's the worst bit. That's the worst bit out of the way. So what you can start doing is trimming with a blade on the really easy bits. This is where you need a really sharp blade. And see, it comes away quite nicely there, but other parts it can be a bit of a pain to remove. So you can go from one direction and then cut in the other direction, and then scrape the blade along the line just to get rid of that mould line. So if there is any excess there, which there is a wee bit, this is where the flexi file comes in, and it'll remove stuff to a certain degree, but they're not great at it. Just keep going at it in different directions just to move that little annoying bit of plastic until it goes away. And then I'll tidy it up with the finer grit. This is a really subtle file because there's hardly any grit on it at all, but it does make a difference. Smooths everything nice and smooth. So just work your way around the model, looking for pieces to remove. So we've got a bit in there between the folds of the cloak, and if you can see that part there, that needs to come out. If you're a fussy bugger like me, if it doesn't bother you, Leave it there. So I'm cutting around the fold of the cloak there to try and remove it. So that's it out. Now obviously I can't get a file in there. So what I'm going to do for that last little piece, there's just a little lip there, if you can, don't know if you can see it, but it's around the tip of my blade there, that part that moves that way. So what I need to do, I've lit my tea light. I have a trusty cork, and I'm going to place the needle into the cork because we're going to heat it up. This is a cheeky little trick that I used to use on my old Airfix toy soldiers. You know, you used to get your cowboys and your World War II stuff, and there used to be horrendous mould lines on there, and it's a similar kind of material. So I thought I'd give it a go. So I'm heating it up. You can test it there. Yeah, it melts into the plastic straight away. So I think we're ready to go there. And I warn you, it's not for the faint-hearted, but it is really good at sorting stuff like this out. So I'll re-spot my offending bit of plastic. And just melt it away. There's a tiny little bit left, but it's more or less gone. It's right into the crease of the fold of the cape. So I'm happy with leaving that bit there. You know, obviously if you want to try and remove it, try and remove it, but I'm happy, it's not that far, so you're not going to see it anyway. So the main thing I wanted to show you was the fingers. Now I think these are notorious on the group for being really difficult to sort out. He's got like webbed fingers there. It's a bit silly, isn't it? So I'll just remove that top bit there with a knife. And it's really difficult to shift and make it look good with a knife. So this is where the needle comes into play. So I'm going to cut down as far as I can go in between the fingers. So, and it's removing stuff to a certain degree, but I really want to get a clean edge on the fingers. Okay, so you've probably guessed it. This is where the needle comes in to play again. You can see I've got a little bit of a gap in between the fingers, but I want it a bit more. And this is where I think a needle will be better rather than using this, because there's still quite a bit of girth on this needle. Obviously a proper needle will have a finer point on it, but you'll get the drift. So I want it nice and hot, and I'm just going to apply it firstly to the top of the finger there to melt that down a bit, and take away that bit in the middle. So I need to heat it up a bit more. moved a little bit. Let's check that I'm actually got it nice and hot actually. Yeah, it's just slicing straight through that. Can you see that? So that's more or less what we're doing to the model up this end. Just tightening up the edge of the hand there. And we'll go on to rough surfaces in a minute. We'll probably use this arm for that because once we remove the flash it's going to be quite rough. I'll show you how to sort that out. You can see we've created a gap between the fingers there, and it's clean as well. You know, there's no rough parts to remove. You know, so a bit of a long process, but take your time because you don't want to go into it really aggressively because you'll end up making mistakes. So we'll do the part between the first finger and the thumb there. You can see a bit of flash there. So that's the next thing we're going to remove. It's not too bad actually, but it'll take ages to try and sort the tops of the fingers out because there's like a bit of flash on the top of the fingers there as well. So I'll be coming back to that off camera, but you get the main gist of this. Just take your time. I'll just show you just in case it hasn't shown up yet. Work on this bit of flash here, so you just move it in between the area that you need to sort out, and you've only got a short amount of working time before it cools down and becomes unworkable. You really need it very, very hot and go straight from the flame to the plastic. So, I'll just pause it there. So for the arm, I'm going to use the blade to get rid of most of the excess. And scrape away.
And that's not too bad, actually. Perhaps it'd be better off trying to find a different part. Maybe this one.
There's not enough flash there to remove with a
knife, so we'll use the stick. And sometimes the surface will still be a bit rough when you've finished filing. Let's get rid of that bit. But that's okay, because now we come to the other honourable mention, which is hard coat. Now if you put, sorry, I'm shaking that pot. If you put a coat along that rough surface edge, you don't need a lot on your brush. I'll just run it along there. Because of the properties of the varnish, it'll hide all the rough patches.
And it'll just give you a smooth layer to paint over. It's magic stuff. So basically, if you apply all those techniques to the whole model, it should be quite good. And you'll have a nice smooth model to paint, because the last quill I had, I didn't actually do this to it, and the fingers look awful, and I've still got mould lines on it, and I covered up all the rough patches with the hard coat, but it didn't look great. But now that I'm using the sanding sticks, combined with the sharp knife and the hard coat, it will give you a nice smooth surface. I don't know if you can see that now. And then combine that with the needle. I just want to get rid of that little bit at the bottom of the arm there. I'll remind you that the needle will need cleaning every now and again, because the plastic will leave a bit of carbon on the tip. So give it a scrape to tidy it up, and then go back into the flame. I know the flame should burn it off, but it doesn't get rid of all of it. And as always, if you've got
any questions about it, get in touch in the comments below. Anything you don't understand, give us a shout. I'll try and help you out, but I think I've explained most of it.
So hopefully you'll find it
useful. I'll just get rid of that bit there. That bit was annoying me.
Anyway, right, I'm going to crack on. Yeah, any dramas, give us a shout. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Just a little addendum to the video. Now you can see that I've nearly finished the hand now, and you can see we've got 4 discernible fingers and a thumb. Considering the mangled mess that we had to start with, it's not a bad effort. Still needs a little bit of tidying up here and there, but I think most people will be happy with that, don't you? So, yeah, that's enough for me. See you in the next one. Cheers.